All right. Hey, everyone. So I started a live earlier and I forgot I have a limit on my social media use. I usually only do 5 to 10 minutes intervals when I get on social media, and I forgot, so it kicked me out. But if you are someone who is in a partnership, a business partnership, or someone who is thinking about going into one, I really just wanted to record this video for you. I was actually doing a training for a group of partners this morning, and I just wrapped up with their training. And I was like, you know what? I think there's so much good information that somebody else could benefit from it, especially for those that, have gone into partnerships blindly. We're very keen on partnership trainings at our company. As a matter of fact, if you come to set up a partnership at our company, we don't even let you set one up without going through our training, because we've realized that a lot of people have gone into partnerships and have regretted it, not because they didn't have the passion for the business, but because they did not have the uncomfortable conversations. They did not have the difficult conversations. So when you come to us, one of the things that we do is we take you through those difficult conversations. We help you really understand what you're going into, what this business marriage really is about, so that way you're aware. So when certain problems come up, you've already planned, you've already put different things in place, boundaries, strategies, plans in place to make sure that you can tackle those challenges when they pop up. So I have a few things I want to drop with anybody who is, if you're already in a partnership and you didn't take the time to create an operating agreement, well, you have an opportunity to do that. If you're still thinking about going to a partnership, I really want you to think about some of the things I'm going to cover. Hey, Mommy Ace, thank you so much. Yeah, so let's talk about it. The first thing is, when you decide to go into a partnership with someone, even before I dabble into my tips, let me point out something. I'm a big believer in the power of many. There's so much that more can do, right? 1,000 from one person or 2,000 from one person is so little, but 2,000 from two people can go a long way, especially because they can plan, they can put their heads together and literally do a lot more. Now, I love partnerships. I love when people can come together to accomplish something for a greater good. The only thing is, I believe that if you do not clearly understand what you're getting yourself into, you could end up regretting it and losing your money on, for things that could have been prevented. Okay. So anyone who is going to watch this, I want you to know I'm such a big believer in partnerships, but I think it's important to have those difficult conversations so you go in informed. Sometimes you're better off going solo than going into the wrong partnership, okay? Hey, Ida. So I'm going to talk about the few things that I want you to think about. When you decide to go into a partnership with someone, the first thing I want you to consider is your alignment in vision and values. A lot of times people, who are in a similar space can say, oh, we really like each other. We want to make money together. Yes, we want to build a legacy. Great stuff. But you have to take the time to craft this vision. There are people that might be going to a business. One person is thinking, I want us to create a business that we're going to sell. Another person is thinking, I want to create a business to leave a legacy. If you are not aligned in that vision, do you know what's going to happen? Down the road, when the person who is thinking about creating a business to sell starts to make certain decisions, the person who is thinking about legacy might start having conflicting issues. Again, there's nothing wrong with whichever way you go, but it's important to be on the same page when it comes to that. So if you're thinking about going into a partnership, this is so crucial. The second thing I want you to consider is the values part. There are people that can be so good, but their values are very questionable. The way business gets complicated, the moment people start to pay you for services, you become liable. So if you're working with someone whose values are questionable, you're getting yourself in a lot of trouble. I've seen situations where people have closed businesses way long gone, but you know what? Because the partner went and signed a contract that was fraudulent, they have to deal with the consequences of that. So please, the first thing, you want to make sure that you're aligning your vision. Second thing, that you're aligning those values. Because if we can agree on certain ethical things, on how we'll make certain decisions, it gets easier as we build. The next thing I want you to really think about is you take your time to discuss how you're going to split profit and losses. Sometimes I hear people just go in, we're going to do 50-50. But that may not always serve you. Why? One person might be coming with the money, the other person has the skill sets. At the very beginning, it always looks like the person with the money is adding value until the person who is doing the work starts working themselves to death, and these other guys just relaxing because they put $10,000. And then now you're trying to build $100,000 business, and your buddy's over there, I get $10,000, I'm done. So it's very important to think through when you're talking about how you're going to divide profits and losses. That's such an important thing, and that also aligns with with what each person is contributing. Next thing I want you to talk about, which is very, very important too, is going to be your roles. What will each person be doing? Do you know, a lot of times people just assume that because we're going into business, everybody kind of knows what everybody's doing, because I know you're a painter, I'm a plumber. Okay, so when we do our partnership, you go for all painting problems and all of that. But there's a lot more that comes into that. What if the plumbing person's job is a once in a month thing, and the other person, painter, has to work all the time? We have to write down those job descriptions, because if one person's side is the one that is bringing the most revenue, sometimes it can become burdensome. So how do we define what this other person will be doing during the slow times? So take your time to write down each person's job description and how each of you will be adding value to the business. Now, my biggest part, which is one of my biggest advice, is for you to talk about how decisions will be made on very important things. Oh, this one, most partnerships that have literally come to a standstill is because they could not agree on a decision. And it breaks my heart. I see 2 people or 3 or more people that have come together and invested a ton of money, invested their time, but then they start making a decision because they never had an understanding of who should make decisions on what. Before you know it, they can't move forward. For example, you can have somebody whose background is in marketing, and they are really good with the marketing space. They understand social media. Let that person be in charge of making decisions for that. Now, what happens if you say we have to agree on everything, and then you have another person who is old school, who is thinking, nah, let's not do social media? Right there, without you guys agreeing, you can't move forward. And before you know it, the morale starts to die. Then you're not motivated to work again because I have these ideas, I want to take our business to the next level, and this other person is just fighting me because we don't agree. So it's very important to decide how decisions will be made. Very important. If there's an area where you have strength, focus on that area. Focus on being the decision maker in that area, and the rest of the partners, and trust that person. So sit down and craft down all of that. When it comes to hiring, who is a better person for hiring? Who is the person that can be a good judge of character? Let that person be in charge of those decisions. Now, will there be certain decisions where you have to vote? Absolutely, especially when it comes to major investments. But it's important to have that conversation of how decisions will be made. My next thing that I really want you guys to talk about now is what happened when the big D's come into play. Now, there are different types of partnerships. There are partnerships where you have husband and wife. There are partnerships that are friends or just people that came together for a business. To be able to build a business. Hey, Cliff, that's my baby Cliff right there, my nephew. So the 4 things that could possibly happen: a partner could die, unfortunately, but it happens. A partner whose spouse could be in the business could go through a divorce, or if it's a partnership of 2 spouses, they could actually go through a divorce. What happens? Then what happens if we cannot agree on something and we need to dissolve? And then the last part, what happens if a partner goes into disability? Right? Sometimes it's very easy to think, I'm going to be able to carry my own part of the weight. But what happens now when your partner is disabled and cannot work? Will you want to keep them on as a partner? There are people that would be like, nah, I can't work with you. There are other people that might say, well, I can continue working till you get healed. I don't know. But you want to have the conversations when these different scenarios come up, because if you do not plan, then you get surprised. You see a lot of times people just drop everything and they leave, and that's something that you and your family could have been building on. That could be a legacy you wanted to pass down to your kids, but now you're stuck because a lot of these things have not been covered. So I just want to go ahead and encourage anyone who is listening to me now, anyone who is watching this, if you are thinking of going to a partnership, please sit down and take the time to do a detailed operating agreement. Your operating agreement is the document that you guys will use to guide every decision that you make. So your operating agreement is going to cover how much you guys are contributing, right? It's going to cover each person's role, how decisions will be made. What happens if someone dies? What happens if someone, has to sell their ownership? You want to cover this as detailed as possible. The training I just had this morning, I loved it. They asked me a question about what happens when a partner, because it's a big partnership, and 9 of them, and we're like, what happens if 7 of us agree and 2 people are not agreeing? I said that's why you put it in your operating agreement. If we have 2 or 3 people that are adamant to making decisions and they're holding the organization back, we'll let them go. But you cannot do it unless you actually put it down in your operating agreement, because if you let them go, they could actually sue you. So it's so important to think about that. I wanted to talk about the different types of partnerships, but I think that's information that was a bit too detailed for this. I just wanted to drop this into the minds of someone who might have been thinking about going into a partnership, or who already has a partnership, to please think about these things. Make sure that you're covering all these ends. Don't build something and then you cannot proceed with it because you have partners that are not working together with you. And guys, trust me, people change. I know right now when you have your idea and you and your business partner or your potential partner, you're so excited. I have been there. I've been a part of a partnership where we were so excited and then things happen. And it messed me up. And I was heartbroken for so long. That's why I made sure that at our company, The Ark, we do not set up a partnership without training our members, without training the partners. We make you go through our partnership training. We educate you on your, another thing, your strengths. I remembered. Please make sure you do your strengths and weakness assessments so that each of you will know what to entrust to the other person. I'm so glad I remember that, because those are the things we do. We do those kind of assessments. We do personality assessments. We have the partners go through a series of 23 questions, intense questions, where by the time you're done, you're going to ask yourself, should this partner be an investor or actually be a partner? Because you have to ask yourself, what do I really need from this person, right? Is it money? You can get a loan. Is it money? They could be just an investor. But if you decide to go into that marriage where now they have to be a part of your decision making, especially if all they brought in was money, was it worth it? Especially if it's your vision, right? So you have to think about it. Sometimes you might be thinking they have a skill set that I need. You can hire them. You can hire them. You can set up your business. You can hire them. Okay. So I just wanted to drop this out here. My training with the partnership I had today was so amazing. It was 9 of them, solid. And I said, it's so, the things we go through, the information we go through with our clients is so good. And I wanted to drop it out there for anyone who is in a partnership, thinking of going to a partnership. Make sure that you cover all these ends, so that you can build something that is going to outlast you guys. You guys will make money, have fun as friends, and build legacies. Okay. I want to hear from anyone who is in a partnership. How is that working for you? If there's a topic that any of you wants me to cover in the partnership area, I'll be happy to talk about it. I think I might do another video to explain the different types of partnerships, so I can, for those who want to go into it, you can have clarity on what to do. Okay. All right, everyone. Happy Saturday. Leave me your comments. I want to hear if you're in a partnership, how's that working out? Yeah, let's take this conversation a step further. And if there's something again you want me to explain, I'll be so happy to do that. All right. It was nice coming on live. I'm trying to commit myself to doing this more often when I can. And I think it'll be good to share all this information. I love to teach. I want to make sure that the little I know is able to impact what people are doing out there. And so, yeah, let me know anything you want to learn in the tax, business, nonprofit world. I got you. All right. Have a great weekend.